Greetings, movie fans, and welcome to SMG Movie Talk. And today, I'm going to provide my review for Jurassic World Rebirth. Now, I know this movie came out a few weeks ago, but it actually came out shortly prior to me starting this channel. So I decided I'm going to go through and release reviews for movies that I watched shortly before I started this channel and the months kind of leading up to it. So here we are today. Now, the Jurassic World, or really the Jurassic Park franchise as a whole, is one I hold fairly near and dear to my heart. And it's really all because of that first movie from 1993. That movie, when I first saw it, it really captivated my imagination in a way that no movie before had done so. Maybe it was just I was at the perfect age at the time to see a movie with heavy dinosaur carnage, but really just the awe and scale of that film. There's not many movies that really give you that feeling, even sense the grandeur of the dinosaurs, the majesty of the dinosaurs. It was just something beautiful. And in fact, I saw the original one back in theaters again maybe a year ago, and it still holds up better than most of the sequels, heck, maybe all of the sequels, just in the visuals, in the scale, the kind of reverence that the characters have for these dinosaurs. It's really a beautiful thing to see, and it's something that I think has always been missing from the franchise since that first film. Anyways, all the sequels since have had varying levels of quality. The first two sequels, The Lost World and Jurassic Park 3, they both were fine, but they had their problems. I did appreciate in the first Lost World the amount of dinosaur carnage, the amount of people getting eaten by the dinosaurs, but then it kind of took a turn as the T-Rex ended up in LA and all that, and that was kind of a dumb choice. And then Jurassic Park 3, I was never really a fan of it. It was okay, but you had some pretty insufferable characters in that movie, and then really minimal dinosaur carnage, which I mean, that's what I want to see out of a Jurassic Park movie. I want to see dinosaurs eating people. It doesn't seem like it's that hard to do, but so many of these movies have failed so miserably to do so. Then you have Jurassic World, which came out in 2015, and it felt like a bit of breath of fresh air into the franchise, though for a park that was completely filled with people, which was cool to see and was something that I kind of longed for seeing in these movies. Still, the dinosaur carnage was fairly minimal. You would have expected a lot more people getting attacked and eaten by dinosaurs for having an entirely full park, but I guess they still decided to skimp on that. And Jurassic World did something that I think has hindered all of the movies since, and it was really their use of these mutant dinosaurs, the ones that are bred with all kinds of different creatures, or bred to, look a certain way or have certain traits and all that. Now, I get it. From the very beginning, they were basically mutants where they used some frog DNA and all that, but that was very minimal as far as how they were enhancing these dinosaurs. When they started with the Indominus Rex in Jurassic World, that's where it really kind of took a turn, because now they're adding all these other elements that just don't feel like a dinosaur anymore. Now it just feels like a monster movie. And they try to glaze over that by saying, oh, people are sick of dinosaurs now, and they've said that over and over again in the Jurassic World movies. But let's be real, people would not be sick of dinosaurs. I mean, to this day, millions of people every day go to zoos filled with animals that they could go out and see in, I guess probably not just in their backyard, but they could go out and see in the real world. And they're not sick of them. I'm never sick of going and seeing elephants or tigers or bears or anything like that. So why would people be sick of seeing a freaking Tyrannosaurus Rex? It wouldn't happen. Yeah, maybe one or two people, whatever, those people are stupid. But the average population would not be sick of dinosaurs. But they want to hammer this idea into our heads in these Jurassic World movies that people are sick of dinosaurs, so they have to enhance them just so they can enhance them for the story. And it's crap. So that first Jurassic World movie, I kind of gave it a pass, because while the Indominus Rex had these other traits, it still felt like a T-Rex. But Then since then, they just added stupidity after stupidity. You've got these raptors in the, what was it, Fallen Kingdom and Dominion, that if you point this gun at someone that has a laser sight on it, the raptors will then attack that person, which is insanity because, well, if you have a gun that you're pointing at someone, you already have an instrument of destruction pointing at that person. Why do you need a raptor to jump in? And then they still just fail to execute on that premise anyways. So those movies, I mean, that's just the basis of the problems in those movies. Fallen Kingdom was dreadful. Dominion was absolute garbage. They fail to understand what people want to see in Jurassic Park, in Jurassic World movies. And I'll say it again, it's dinosaurs eating people and having some level of terror in the scenes. There really hasn't been much terror in those movies since the first one, maybe the first two. And then we've got Jurassic World Rebirth. And the title Rebirth made me think, well, maybe it's truly going to be a return to form and rebirth those ideas into the genre. And I will say to some degree, they succeeded. But in other degrees, they failed miserably yet again. So Jurassic World Rebirth follows a few characters. You've got Scarlett Johansson, Jonathan Bailey, Mahershala Ali, and a few other characters that need to go to this island to extract DNA from 3 of the largest dinosaurs. And of course, it's kind of a dumb plot point that has to be, oh, the biggest water dinosaur, the biggest land dinosaur, and the biggest air dinosaur. Why? I don't know. That's just the idea. But basically, you have to extract this DNA so they can then make medicine that can cure all kinds of diseases. Okay, cool, fine. That's an interesting point, I guess. Well, a couple things they did wrong in this movie then is that, for one, when you saw them go into the island, you could tell pretty quickly there's not enough, how should I say, dino fodder. Yeah, there are a couple, I guess, red shirts, for a term from the Star Trek world. A couple people that were on the boat with them, you knew, oh, they're not going to make it off this boat, or they're not going to make it very far if they do. But you basically just have the main characters other than a few others. And then there's this family that happens to kind of get intertwined in the story with one of the most insufferable characters in cinematic history playing this girl's boyfriend. He gets a little bit of redemption as the movie goes on, but he's someone that I was cheering that, or hoping that he would get eaten at some point along the way. But the movie progresses and he becomes a little more likable, but for the majority of the movie, you just absolutely hate this guy. Anyways, one thing this movie does right is it does integrate some of the ideas of terror into the movie. There are a couple truly terrifying scenes where you actually feel the fear and feel the terror that should exist when people are being chased by dinosaurs. There's a scene on the boat when they're trying to get to the island that was pretty cool, though there's a little too much of the cliche dinosaur chomping right at the heels of someone. Just on that boat alone, it happened like 8 times. So that was a little annoying, but beyond that, that was a pretty cool scene. And then there's also this raft scene later in the movie that was originally going to be in the very first Jurassic Park movie, but Steven Spielberg didn't have the technologies to pull it off at the time, so he decided to scrap the scene. So it was cool to see it in there and see it executed fairly well. But what did this movie do wrong? Well, mutant dinosaurs again. Now, some of them that they had in there were fine and passable, but they had this dinosaur that was kind of the big boss. He was the main baddie of the movie. And he basically looked like the Rancor from The Return of the Jedi. I guess the best way to describe him, maybe with longer arms, basically. And it was completely pointless for him to even exist in this movie. Everything this dinosaur, this mutant, what they call it, a D-Rex, everything that he did could have been replaced by a Tyrannosaurus Rex or a Spinosaurus or some other real dinosaur that actually existed in the world. They could have just used that and it would have been perfectly interesting, perfectly terrifying, and would have made for a much better film than having this giant rancor that looked like he got a boulder dropped on his head, so he had a giant like growth on top of his head. Why even have this dinosaur in the movie? What was the point? Oh yeah, people don't like dinosaurs anymore. They're sick of dinosaurs. No, they're not. They're not. People would not be sick of dinosaurs. If that was a T-Rex, the movie would have been the same for the most part, but would have been better in the fact that it would have felt more authentic. Instead, it lost itself and was no longer a Jurassic Park movie. It was a monster movie. They were getting chased by this mutant creature. So, as a whole, I mean, the movie was better than the last two Jurassic World movies by leaps and bounds, but I mean, it's not hard to be better than those two movies. I would even say it was better than the first two sequels to Jurassic Park. I would probably rank this like third in the Jurassic franchise. Maybe fourth. I'd have to really like rewatch some and reanalyze it, but it would be near the top. But it still wouldn't be very highly rated. If I had to rate it out of 10, I'd probably give it a 7.3 out of 10. So passable. If you go see it, you'll probably at least have a good time, see a little bit of dinosaur carnage, but it will leave you wanting more. It'll leave you thinking, this is the rebirth. This is the new Jurassic World, because now, like, where's this franchise gonna go? Is there gonna be another dang island with dinosaurs, probably half of them mutants, people running around, most of them surviving, no one really getting eaten, and then they escape, and then, oh, let's go on to the next movie. I get that this franchise is basically a license to print money, so Universal will keep pumping them out and pumping them out. I just wish they would pump out quality. It doesn't seem that hard to make a good Jurassic movie. Follow the blueprint of the first movie and just have scary dinosaurs chasing people and snacking on some of them. That's all we need to see. That's all we want to see in these movies. Don't give us mutant dinosaurs. Don't try to gaslight us and tell us that people wouldn't be interested in dinosaurs anymore. That's crap. That's absolutely stupid. So anyways, 7.3 out of 10. It's fine. Go see it if you like this franchise. You might enjoy it, but you'll probably be a little disappointed as a whole. Anyways, thank you all for coming out and being part of this channel with me. If you have the chance, please like this video, leave a comment, and subscribe to my channel. That all goes a long way in helping this channel grow, helping get more followers, and inevitably help me to get more equipment and all that good stuff to make better videos and all that kind of stuff. Thank you all for watching, and until next time, be kind to one another. Thank you.